Nitta is a gangster who loves his vase collection. He buys a new vase for $25,000 and adds it to his collection. At home, he gets happy and has a small party for himself. Suddenly, an iron pod appears from the air and hits his head. A girl's face shows on the pod and Nitta gets shocked. He thinks maybe he is drunk, so he decides to pretend he saw nothing and goes to sleep. The next day, the pod is still there. The girl tells Nitta to press the button on the back. Nitta thinks for a short time and then presses the button. The pod opens and a girl comes out. She tells him that she needs clothes. When Nitta questions her, she breaks some vases from his collection, and Nitta has no choice, so gives her clothes. Nitta tells her that now she has clothes, so she should leave the house at once. But the girl says she has nowhere to go, and when Nitta says it has nothing to do with him and she can go anywhere, she threatens to break more vases. Nitta has no other way. The girl tells her name is Hina, and she starts living with Nitta. Nitta is forced to cook for her, dries her hair, and does her other daily things too. After a few days, Nitta realizes he is just like a servant. The next day, Hina tells him that she needs to buy necessary things and some stuff. They go shopping. Nitta tells her that he is not her dad to pay for everything, but Hina twists his arm and he agrees at once. Hina picks a stuffed animal for sleep and some expensive clothes, and also picks other items. After shopping, the bill becomes about $10,000, and Nitta is forced to pay it. She looks at this world and thinks it is a bit strange. The next day, Nitta is in his boss's office. Many people are talking about important things, but Nitta gets lost in his own thoughts. That night, Hina hears about school on TV and tells Nitta that she wants to go to school now. Nitta refuses at first, but the vase threat works again. Nitta makes her promise that she will not use her powers at home or anywhere, and Hina promises. Some days later, Hina finally enters school as a middle school student. When the teacher introduces her by name, she does not respond, but then she remembers that Nitta told her that her name is Hina Nitta. Back in the office, Nitta is still thinking about Hina while the boss talks about serious things. The boss says that if the opponent gang makes trouble, who will handle it, and Nitta says that he will handle everything by himself. The boss becomes happy, but actually Nitta is thinking who will handle it if Hina makes trouble at school. Meanwhile at school, Hina sleeps in all the periods. At break time, the girl who sits with her, Hitomi, comes and wakes her and tells her the class is over. At home, Hina does yoga while watching TV, moves water with her powers to drink, but remembers the promise she made to Nitta. After some hours, Nitta comes home and sees the room full of darkness, and Hina floats in the air. She tells him that if she does not use her power for some time, she loses control. Right away, a big blast shakes the apartment and all the vase collection breaks. Nitta tells her that she should have told him before. Then he remembers the boss gave him a timber-related job, so he thinks this is a good way to let her release power. The next day, he takes her by car to the construction site, and when they reach the site, he shows pictures and explains how to pull trees out from the ground. Hina uses her power and pulls the trees out easily, and Nitta gets very shocked. After that, he shows shapes for digging and tells her how to cut the earth, and she does a perfect job. She even puts the soil back nicely, and Nitta becomes very happy. At night, he thinks that together they can earn a lot of money and get many benefits. But Hina tells him that in the past, she saw the same faces in adults who only wanted to use her power. Nitta realizes she was used like a weapon and tells her that he will not do that to her. Suddenly, he gets a call from the office, so he goes there at once. He learns the enemy gang shot the boss while Nitta, the main assistant, was away with Hina. The vice boss grows angry, gives him a gun, and tells him he must take revenge first. Hina sits nearby and hears everything. Later, Nitta reaches the enemy gang's office. Before he can enter, Hina appears from the back seat and tells him that if enemies are inside, he should give her the order and she will finish them, because that is what she always does. Nitta tells her to stop talking, says this is not her matter, and he will not order her. Hina smiles, gets out of the car, and goes inside the office. Nitta tries to stop her, but stumbles and cannot. The building shakes and blasts, and smoke and dust rise. The enemy gang's boss gets thrown out, and their whole team is finished. Later in Nitta's office, everyone praises him because they think he took down the enemy team alone and avenged the boss. After that, Nitta tells Hina that he will take her to eat her favorite thing because today, they both did a good job and also got money. They go to eat her first favorite food in this world, salmon roe. On the street, he tells her that she does not need to take orders and he will not treat her like in her old world. The next morning, Nitta cooks breakfast. When he tells her to reach school on time, the knife suddenly bends, which means she keeps using a little power in between so she does not lose control. At night, Nitta comes out of the bath and sees the same pod the Hina came from. When he touches it, the pod traps him inside, like it trapped Hina before. When Hina comes out of the room, he asks her to press the back button, but she ignores him the same way he ignored her. Nitta uses his brain and thinks that the pod only needs to roll off the table so the back button will press and he will pop out. He tries, but gets his face slammed on the ground. Suddenly, Nitta realizes he needs to pee as he cannot hold it anymore. In the morning when Hina returns, Nitta begs and says he will do anything and will buy her favorite food again. She finally presses the button and Nitta pops out as they attack Titan. A few days later, Nitta goes to his favorite regular bar and meets the bartender, Utako, but Hina also comes with him by force and sits there. The next night, Nitta goes out to the bar to hang out with some girls, and one girl tells him that there are many rumors that Nitta has a daughter. Nitta gets shocked because he has never had a child, and he wonders how this is possible. He feels dizzy, and when he gets home, Hina tells him to make dinner. Nitta realizes that because of Hina, his fun and easy life turns ruined, and now people see him like a single father. He goes to the kitchen and gives Hina canned food. After that, Nitta decides that he will enjoy his old life and he will not live like a caretaker. The next night, he gives Hina canned food and goes to the bar to drink and have fun. And the day after that, he takes a bar girl on a date while Hina eats canned food that day too. The next night, he goes on another date and Hina again eats canned food at home. The next day, when Nitta gets ready to go out, Hina comes and tells him that today she will go with him. So Nitta instantly runs away and rushes to the train station. But when he is about to enter the train, Hina is already sitting there and Nitta pretends he does not know her as the train leaves. Later at school, Hitomi asks Hina why she looks worried, and Hina tells her that Nitta is acting strange and hiding something. Hitomi gets surprised that Hina does not call him Papa or Daddy and calls him by his name. After school, Hina takes Hitomi with her and they follow Nitta. The purpose of bringing Hitomi is so she can stop Hina from getting distracted by food, but they lose Nitta and do not know which way he went, so they go to the same regular bar where Nitta often goes. Utako is not in the bar, so Hina tells Hitomi to wait and she will go find Utako. A drunk customer enters, does not understand anything, and thinks Hitomi is the bartender, so he asks her to make a drink. Hina sits in the park and eats, and she forgets about Nitta and also forgets that she left Hitomi in the bar. Utako sees Hina by chance while shopping outside and comes to her. Back in the bar, Nitta arrives and sees that a middle school girl is making drinks, and he even orders his drink from Hitomi. In the park, Utako and Hina talk, and Utako tells Hina that she should support Nitta because he does many things for her. When both girls go back to the bar, they see more customers have gathered, and Hitomi is making drinks for them, and everyone praises Hitomi's skill. Hina tells Nitta that she will not bother him, and he can live like before and enjoy his life, and Nitta feels happy, but he is drunk, and the others say it is party time. They close the bar and go to a club, and Nitta orders champagne there. Nitta tells Hina to make a champagne tower, so Hina uses her power and pours champagne into the glass tower. All the men think it turns into an illusion because they are drunk, and the girls think it is some kind of trick. Hitomi also comes with them, and she sits at the side, drinks juice, and thinks why she is even here. A few days later, the same kind of iron pod appears at night in the middle of the street. The pod rolls, and the back button presses by itself, and another girl comes out. Right away, she clashes with a biker gang, and in a few minutes, the whole gang ends up on the ground. The next day, Nitta's assistant tells him about the incident with the biker gang. Nitta remembers Hina for a second, but then recalls that last night, Hina was playing a game with him, so he relaxes and thinks Hina is not involved. Later in a ramen shop, a girl eats ramen while wearing a biker gang leader's coat. Nitta feels that something turns wrong and prays it is not what he is thinking. The girl finishes the ramen and tries to leave without paying, and when the shopkeeper asks for money, she asks what money is and starts to use her power, but Nitta jumps up fast and pays her bill at once. Nitta's underling thinks he becomes very kind, but Nitta gets shocked inside. He puts down his food and follows the girl. The girl sits on a bench in a park, and Nitta hides in the bushes and watches her quietly. Suddenly, the biker gang from the last night appears to take revenge, but the girl instantly defeats all of them. When Nitta goes home, Hina asks him to make dinner fast, so Nitta gets angry and picks her up in the air. The girl's name is Anzu, and she steals food from convenience stores and places in town so she can eat. Later at the bar, Utako tells Nitta and his underling that a girl is stealing around the market today, and Nitta thinks to himself that he saved the world because if he did not feed and take care of Hina, then Hina would have eaten the world now. Anzu is living a homeless life. She stays under a bridge and survives on leftover food. Nitta tells his underling to order the men to find that girl and report at once, and a man spots Anzu and sends Nitta her location. The underling pays the informant his compensation, and Nitta gets ready to go under the bridge to Anzu. Hina is about to go to school, but Nitta tells her they have work, so she goes with him. Anzu sees Hina and gets shocked, and she challenges Hina and says she will beat her and kill her. Nitta stops them because he knows if they fight, the city will end up destroyed, so he advises that they should solve this match without powers by a game. Anzu refuses, so Nitta tells Hina that he will buy her favorite dish, salmon roe, if she provokes Anzu. Hina makes fun of Anzu and calls her scared, and Anzu gets angry and agrees. They choose the game Look That Way. One player points a finger in one direction, and if the opponent looks the same way, the opponent loses. Anzu goes first. She points down, and at the same time she tries to push Hina's eyes with her power, but Hina does not look down. Then Anzu points up, and Hina still does not look up. Now it is Hina's turn, and her slightest push makes Anzu's neck crack, and she screams in pain. Then she stands up and plucks Hina's hair a little, and Hina screams in pain. Anzu says she will keep her promise, and because she lost, she will leave. She also says she was sent from their old world to finish Hina, but now she will not kill her and will only show fake proof to her boss that she ended Hina. Before Anzu goes, Hina Hina tells her that both of them should spend some time together, and Nitta becomes satisfied because he believes he saved the world again. After that, Anzu spends some time with Hina, and they play games and eat while Nitta washes both of their clothes and also cleans up their mess. At night, Anzu says goodbye and goes back under the bridge and uses her pod, but the pod does not work. She checks and learns the pod got wet when Nitta washed their clothes, and now it cannot work. Suddenly it starts to rain, and Anzu sits under the bridge, and she becomes homeless again. Nitta gets a notice from school that Hina came only 2 days and then stopped going, so he sends her to school again, but in class, she still sleeps in the last row with Hitomi. Hitomi, after school, sometimes helps at Utako's bar. At first, Utako only asks for help once or twice, but customers like Hitomi's skill. So later, Utako forces Hitomi to work part-time as a bartender. Hitomi refuses and says she is a middle school student and cannot do this. Utako begs, but Hitomi still says no, so Utako shows a photo on her phone of Hitomi making a drink and tries to blackmail her. She says she will spread it on social media, and the school will expel her, and Hitomi gets shocked at first, but then shows that she recorded Utako's blackmail on her phone. Now both of them have proof against each other, so Utako suggests they should solve it nicely. She says they should delete the evidence at the same time in 3 seconds, so no one can blackmail. They count 3, and both delete the files on their phones, but then Utako reveals she saved a copy on her home computer before, so Hitomi has no choice, and now she works part-time as a bartender at Utako's bar. That same day, Hitomi's homeroom teacher and the principal come to the bar to drink. Hitomi panics when she sees them and tries to hide her face, but Utako tells her to handle the customers because she is the bartender. Hitomi understands this will never end. Hitomi serves them and tries to make strange faces so they will not recognize her. The teacher becomes shocked to see her, but the principal ends up drunk. The teacher thinks maybe there is some other reason because a middle school student cannot be a bartender, so he asks her, and Hitomi insists she is someone else who just looks like his student. The teacher believes this excuse for a moment. Then other customers, including Nitta's underling, suggest that the teacher should taste Hitomi's drink to see her skill. The teacher agrees, and Hitomi makes the drink very professionally while the teacher watches carefully. He drinks and feels it turns expert level. He still doubts, so he orders different drinks to test her again. But in the end, every drink comes out perfect like a pro, so he decides she is not his student and must be someone else. After drinking, the teacher and principal leave, and Hitomi gets relieved that she survived today. One day at dinner, Nitta tells Hina that she has no manners and says Anzu was better. Hina remembers a drama she watched, and she believes if she does not behave well, Nitta will adopt Anzu as his daughter, and she will become homeless. That night, she dreams the same thing and wakes up scared. At breakfast, Hina makes no demands and obeys everything, and when Nitta leaves for work, she even says goodbye politely. Nitta gets confused. Hina decides to clean the whole house so that when Nitta comes back, he will get surprised and will want to make her his daughter. She starts with the vacuum, but it stops working, so she runs around and tries to clean in a clumsy way. A vase accidentally falls, but she uses her power to stop it, and other vases fall instead. Then she remembers that the broken vase is very important to Nitta, and she panics. But the living room already turns into a big mess. She decides that doing laundry is better. While drying a blanket, the blanket flies off the balcony and goes into the city, so she decides she should cook something for Nitta. She opens the fridge and sees salmon roe that Nitta saved for her for the whole week, but she eats all of it in one go. At the office, people praise Nitta and say he takes good care of his daughter, and Nitta gets happy because maybe these compliments will help his promotion. At home, Hina decides to wash the dishes, but soon water spills everywhere, and after a while, she starts breaking plates. In the evening when Nitta comes home, he gets shocked to see the state of the house, so he scolds Hina and tells her to leave. Hina packs her things, and Nitta pushes her out of the apartment. First, she goes to the river and sits there, and when she gets hungry, she takes money from her wallet and buys lots of food she likes. In the evening, she returns to the river with only a little money left, and just then, Anzu passes by. Anzu takes her to her place and gives her cup noodles. After that day, Anzu starts stealing food from convenience stores and the market, but the shop owners try to catch her without calling the police because they want to handle it themselves. The same man who had once reported her to Nitta's underling sees her again. He takes Anzu to the park and shows her how the homeless people live, and he explains to her that she should not steal and that there is a way to earn money. He takes her to collect empty cans near vending machines, and in the evening, they sell the cans and get a small amount of money. Anzu gets angry because it is so little, but the homeless man tells her that other people also earn money by hard work, and when she steals, that is why they chase her. At night, the man brings Anzu to the park. The other homeless people get upset about accepting one more person, but the man convinces them and offers drinks for everyone, saying these are from Anzu's earnings for her welcome party. Some people complain to him, so Anzu gets angry and tells him she bought drinks for them and they are still complaining, but the truth is, she had not earned enough for all, so the man adds his own money to help. He then tells Anzu to sing a song for everyone as compensation. Anzu does not know any song, but she tries her best and sings, and the elders start to cry because she reminds them of their granddaughter, so they welcome her. After that, Anzu keeps collecting cans, and one day she meets Nitta. He asks her why she has not gone home, but she does not tell the truth. Seeing her hard time, Nitta understands she does not want to say, so he gives her some money. Anzu first tries to take it, but then she remembers the man's advice that she should earn her own money, so she refuses. Then she remembers that the homeless people need money and things, so she runs after Nitta's car. Nitta stops and gives her the money, and Anzu thanks him and takes it. As soon as Nitta leaves, Yutako and the other shop owners catch Anzu and take the money. They settle the accounts for all the things she had stolen and return only a little to her. Later, Anzu cries, but the homeless man tells her not to worry and says it is a fresh start now and her debts are gone. The other homeless people also thank her for trying and welcome her again. At present, Anzu tells Hina that she can stay for a short time, but she must apologize to Nitta and go back, because Anzu cannot pay her living costs. At night, Hina bothers Anzu in her sleep, so Anzu zips her inside the camping bag. Anzu wakes up very early and does her routine. She gathers cardboard and cans and sells them. When she returns, she sees Hina eating the cup noodles Anzu had hidden as her secret stash. Back at Nitta's apartment, Nitta feels peaceful for the first time in a while. Then Hitomi rings the intercom and says she brought school printouts for Hina because Hina has been absent. Nitta grows worried and thinks he must arrange Hina's school problem. On the way back, Utako grabs Hitomi and takes her to the park to help at a food stall for the homeless. Hina is also in the line there. After Hina takes food, Anzu takes food too, and Utako gets surprised to see them together. Later in the bar, everyone criticizes Nitta. They call him a terrible person and tell him to go apologize and get out of the bar. Utako also bans Nitta from entering until he makes peace with Hina. Nitta leaves sadly, but Utako chases him because he did not pay, and she grabs his underling for the bill. At home, Nitta wonders what he did wrong. Meanwhile, Hina stays at Anzu's place and either sleeps or buys chips and manga with Anzu's money. At last, Anzu gets fed up and kicks Hina out. Hina wanders around the city and sees a vase shop. She decides to buy a vase as an apology to Nitta, but she has no money. She sees a street band performing and earning. The next day, Nitta looks for Hina and asks Anzu about her. Anzu says she also kicked Hina out. That evening, Hina performs near the band. She lifts things in the air, entertains people, and earns a little money. The band boys invite her to join, and at the same time, Nitta's underling spots Hina and reports to Nitta. When Nitta passes by, he sees Hina using her power and lifting the band members in the air while the crowd cheers. She looks calm, like nothing is wrong. Nitta gets stunned and thinks maybe he worried for no reason. Later, the band takes Hina to a restaurant to party, but Hina apologizes and says she cannot join them. Nitta goes to Utako's club again, but she refuses to serve him because he has not reconciled with Hina yet. Nitta still feels hurt, so he leaves quietly. When he reaches his apartment, he sees Hina sitting outside. She stands and apologizes. Nitta asks why she looked fine and was earning money then. Hina takes out a cheap 500 yen vase from her bag and shows that she was saving to buy an apology vase because she broke his vase. Nitta accepts this, brings her home, and they make peace. Hitomi now works nights as a bartender and still has to go to school in the morning without sleep. While throwing out the trash in the morning, she sees Anzu collecting cans. Hitomi helps her by taking her to another bar owner who agrees to give his empty cans to Anzu because Hitomi quietly blackmails him about telling his wife about his smoking habit. Anzu thanks Hitomi and invites her to her home. Hitomi changes clothes and returns, but she gets shocked to learn Anzu lives in the park and is homeless. Anzu invites her inside the tent and gives her cup noodles. Anzu tells Hitomi how much she earns in a month. Hitomi shows no reaction at first, and Anzu finds it strange. Then Hitomi realizes she should act more shocked because Anzu's monthly or weekly money is only like her 1 hour pay, but she cannot hurt her feeling like this. After that, Anzu invites her to play, and they run in the park. But Hitomi has not slept all night and still went to school, and now she has to run, so she grows so tired that she falls asleep while standing. One day, Anzu shows Hina a rope trick. She makes a tall tower with the rope, but Hina calls it boring and tells her gaming is more fun because she has a game console. Anzu gets angry and leaves. At night, she also wants a game console, so she decides to save money. The next day, she checks on her vending machines and sells cans, but the money is not enough. Yasan, the homeless guardian of Anzu, sees her and gives advice. The next day, Anzu tells Hina that they should find TVs. Yasan told her there is a buyer who pays for used electronics, and flat TVs can sell for about 3,000 yen. Anzu takes Hina to search. Under a bridge, they find many old TVs. Anzu sticks to them at once and tells Hina to bring a cart. They collect many and go to the buyer. The buyer looks and says he only wants slim, flat TVs. These are just old junk, so he will pay only a few yen. Anzu decides she will find a flat TV no matter what. She and Hina search again. After 5 minutes, Hina gets tired and decides to call Hitomi. Anzu also wants to call her friend. When Hitomi comes, Anzu gets shocked that Hitomi is already Hina's friend. All three search together, but it gets dark. Hitomi tells Anzu they should go home and come back tomorrow, but Anzu keeps searching while Hina sleeps. To help, Hitomi calls her mother and asks for their old TV they wanted to throw away. She goes home, and her mom packs the TV in a box. Hitomi plans to place it somewhere and later find it with Anzu. But while she sets the TV down, a police officer sees her and takes her to the station. At the station, she says nothing at first. When the officer says he will call her parents, Hitomi begs him not to. The officer says he understands and thinks her parents forced her to dump the TV, which is illegal, so he will not tell them. On her way home, Hina sees a TV in a shop. She goes to Nitta and asks for money. Nitta gives it right away because he does not want Hina to ruin his time alone with Yutako. Hina buys a brand new TV and takes a taxi to the buyer. The homeless buyer gets shocked to see a new sealed box and Hina's calm face. The taxi driver asks for the fare. Hina says she has no money. The buyer pays the fare in exchange for the TV. Then Anzu arrives and says she could not find any TV. Soon, Hitomi also arrives with a box TV. Anzu thanks her. The buyer looks at another box and becomes even more confused because it also looks like a latest TV. Hitomi tells Anzu that she can keep all the money because Hina already gave her a lot of trouble. But Anzu insists that they should split it into 3 parts for Hina, Anzu, and Hitomi. At home, Nitta asks Hina where the TV is. She tells him she sold it. He asks where the money is. She tells him the taxi driver took it as the fare, which means Nitta's money is gone. One day, Hitomi goes to her part-time job. 2 classmates see her enter the bar, and right after that, they see their homeroom teacher enter the same bar. They get shocked and imagine something is wrong, and they decide they must save Hitomi. At school, they ask Hitomi's friend Aizawa for help. Aizawa refuses to believe them. To prove it, they bring Hina, but Hina just stands there quietly. The classmates say they will follow Hitomi after school. Aizawa says first they should observe in class. In class, Aizawa asks Hitomi what she does after school. Hitomi gets very nervous, so Aizawa tests her more and starts to suspect that something is wrong. To trick Hitomi, Aizawa says she saw her in the entertainment district. Hitomi says she was there for cram school. Aizawa then asks the name of a famous teacher there, Yoshida. Hitomi pretends she knows him but says he is not her teacher. Aizawa laughs and then stops herself. She tells Hitomi there is no such teacher and she was joking. Hitomi says she already knew and only wanted to show that Aizawa was wrong. After class, the teacher asks Hitomi to carry printouts to the staff room. The 2 classmates think the teacher called her on purpose, so they rush to the staff room to save her. They bump into Hitomi and the papers fall. They help her pick them up and then ask if she is doing something she cannot talk about. Hitomi gets shocked and accidentally says that people appreciate her for her skills. The boys get even more shocked, and then she remembers she should deny it, so she keeps denying. They run to the teacher, throw the papers at his face, and say they will catch him one day. After school, they tell Hitomi, and Aizawa joins them. But this time, the one who enters the bar is Nitta. The situation gets messy, so Aizawa gets tired and walks straight into the bar. Inside, they see Hitomi working as a bartender, and Hitomi gets shocked to see them. Hitomi pretends to be someone else, a mature woman at the bar, and tells them the kids should not be in bars. But Aizawa refuses to leave and says they are Hitomi's friends. She says they will never betray her and will not tell the school, so Hitomi does not need to lie or get scared because friends do that for each other. Hitomi understands that Aizawa is a true friend and feels thankful, but she still acts like she does not know them and asks them to leave or she will report to their school. Just then, Aizawa tells her they never revealed their school name, so how she, their school name. Hitomi realizes she is caught and signals Yutako to help, but Yutako does nothing. In the end, Hitomi admits she is working part-time as a bartender because she has no choice. Aizawa scolds her a little, and the 2 boys praise Hitomi's skill. Then the teacher also arrives and says kids should not be here. He tells them not to worry because he first thought the bartender was Hitomi, but now he sees she is not. All the students realize their teacher is the only idiot here. One day, Nitta comes home and sees Hina talking on the phone. He realizes it is his mother, so he quickly takes the phone. His mother tells him to visit because it is his father's death anniversary soon. The next day, Nitta takes Hina with him to his family home. His mother and his sister welcome them. Hina introduces herself. Nitta taught her only one line, so she says her name is Adachi Hina. She is 13 years old and she goes to school. Nitta's mother and sister ask Hina a different question. Nitta signals her to say the next line, but Hina only repeats the same introduction. Nitta pulls her outside to explain. He tells her not to say useless lines, so Hina promises to do her best, but Nitta tells her to do it outside. Nitta goes back in and tells an emotional story. He says Hina is his friend's daughter. He says her mother was killed by bad people, and his friend killed 2 people in anger and is now in prison, so Nitta is taking care of the girl. He says Hina has become so traumatized that she only remembers chili shrimp and her introduction. His mother and sister start crying. Nitta keeps acting and tells them it is better not to ask Hina about her past. They agree, and Nitta feels proud and thinks he is a great actor and should apply for acting roles. Later, his mother and sister tell Nitta to cook, and he has no choice, so he cooks for them. Hina sits with them and says she goes to school regularly, and the sister jokes that Hina must not do homework, but Hina says she brought her homework. Nitta gets surprised because at home, she never does homework. Yet he thinks this is good because no one will question her and she will stay busy. When the sister asks Hina to write her name, Hina writes Nitta. Hina by habit, and Nitta panics and explains that he told her to write that so she will not have school problems. He signals Hina to agree, but Hina again starts her same old line and says her name is Adachi Hina and she is 13. At dinner, the mother and sister ask Hina for her best memory with Nitta, and Hina says the best time was when they went to a girl club together. Both get shocked, and Nitta acts again, saying he only wanted to see Hina smile, so he spoiled her too much by mistake. After dinner, Nitta's sister and Hina light some fireworks outside, while the mother sits with Nitta and asks him a question, what he is doing these days, and tells him to visit more, and Nitta agrees, but then says that taking care of Hina is very hard, and a few days ago he got angry and pushed her out of the house. His mother gets shocked, and Nitta also realizes he said something bad and needs an excuse. She reminds him that he said he adopted Hina only a short time ago, and only a father can do this to his daughter, so she understands that Hina is his daughter. Hina says Nitta is not lying, but Nitta stops his mother and sister and tells them they should not start that topic again because Hina only remembers chili shrimp. Hina does not understand but still tries to agree, and seeing her effort, Nitta grows firm and tells them that Hina is his daughter and he will take good care of her. His sister tries to object, but the mother stops her and says, Nitta's eyes are serious, so there is no need to say more. She adds that she will not ask further today because it is their father's death anniversary, but the sister says it is a good time to introduce the new family member. They introduce Hina to the father's photo, drink, and do silly things, and then they ask Hina to say a few words or a prayer, but Hina says there is nothing, and the mood turns quiet. A few days later, Anzu learns that Utako and the shop owners are protesting to let the homeless stay, but Yasan tells her that the city gave an order to clear the park, so everyone must move out. Anzu tries to cheer them and tells them not to give up, but they say if they do anything big, they will be arrested, and if anyone acts, all will be arrested, so they decide to have a farewell party. Anzu says they should move to a place where everyone can live together, but the homeless man says there is no such big place. One man shouts at Anzu, saying she does not know how they live and should stop having empty hopes, but even as he scolds her, he also grows sad inside. Everyone packs their things, and after 2 or 3 days, the time comes to leave. For Anzu, Utako already asked around and found a place, so she takes Anzu to a couple who run a small diner, and they say they will take care of her. They give her good food, and when Anzu asks how much it costs, she suddenly starts to cry because she is eating good food while the others still struggle for a meal. The couple comforts her and sends her to sleep. The next morning, Anzu wakes early out of habit because she used to go out and pick cans, but now she learns she does not need to do that routine. She goes downstairs and sees the couple already awake and starting the restaurant work. Anzu says she will help, and while the wife tries to stop her, the husband stops the wife and asks who taught Anzu these things. Anzu says her old friends helped her and taught her, and the couple tells her she does not need to feel so sad because she has good memories of them. They also have good memories of her, and they will not forget her. Anzu cries and decides she will work very hard. The next morning, Anzu gets ready to help in the shop, and the couple teaches her how to be polite and treat customers well. Anzu looks at the menu and converts prices into cup noodles in her head, thinking the cheapest dish equals 8 cup noodles. Nitta comes to the diner, and the wife tells Anzu he is a customer. Anzu greets Nitta and takes the order. Nitta and his underling both order full bowls of ramen, and Anzu gets surprised because she thinks Nitta must be rich. Nitta asks why Anzu is there, and Anzu tells him the couple adopted her and she helps with work. Nitta feels a little sad and wishes Hina were like this too. All day, Anzu helps the couple, and in the evening, the wife tells her to take a bath. Anzu uses very cold water by habit, so the wife tells her she can use warm water now. Later, Anzu goes to sleep. She looks at the lights and learns she can turn them on and off as she likes, and she becomes comfortable and happy because this room is hers, like a real home. Meanwhile, Hina's school life is easy for her because she sleeps all day, but the teacher gets tired of it and scolds her. At lunch, she asks for extra food, they refuse, and she gets angry. At night, she tells Nitta that school is boring and there's no point in going, but Nitta reminds her that she was the one who wanted to go, so if she wants fun, she should find a way to make school fun. The next day, she tells her friends, Aizawa and Hitomi, that school is boring and she wants to make it fun. Hitomi suggests student council, and Aizawa tells her not to try it, but a boy nearby says the student council is like the boss of the school and has power. That night, Hina watches TV about bosses who can do anything when they have power, and the next day, when the teacher asks for candidates, Hina raises her hand. The whole class turns disappointed, and Hitomi becomes very shocked. Hitomi tells Hina to reconsider, but Aizawa tells Hitomi to let it be because it is turning interesting. In the staff room, the teacher tells Hina she must write a speech. In class, Hina writes a draft and shows Hitomi. The draft says that if she gets power, everyone can sleep all day, there will be holidays, and everyone can eat what they want. But Hitomi tells her she cannot write silly things and says she must write a proper speech without bullet points. Later, Nitta talks at the office. He says Hina is participating in elections and he thinks she is foolish and cannot win, but the boss gets angry and says Hina is working hard, so Nitta should support her. The boss's son suggests they ask the company lawyer to write the speech, and the boss calls the lawyer and says this problem is more important than their murder case. Election day comes. It is Hina's turn, and her classmates become nervous about what she will do. Hina starts by saying she will become the student council president, but the principal stops her and tells her that first-year students cannot be presidents. Hina ignores the principal and keeps reading her speech because the lawyer told her to read every line. The class gets surprised because the speech talks about real school problems and sounds serious, but in the middle, she reads the stage notes too. She reads that she should hold and take a deep breath, but she only reads the words and does not act. She reads that she should raise her hand with effort, effort, but she does not raise it and only reads the line. And even with these mistakes, she finishes the speech. When the results come, Hina ends up appointed as secretary, not president, and she does not expect this because she wanted power. At home, she tells Nitta that she did not become president, but Nitta tells her this is good for the school and for everyone, and he takes her out to eat. A few days later, a student council girl tells Hitomi that Hina never came even once after the election, so she takes Hitomi to cover for Hina. Hitomi does Hina's tasks very fast because she wants to go home soon. The council members get impressed, and they appoint Hitomi as the student secretary in Hina's place. Hitomi becomes shocked. Later, at the bar, Nitta asks Yutako for a date because she is free these days. At home, Nitta mumbles about the date, and Hina says she can listen. Nitta feels his pride goes low and thinks it turns sad if he asks love advice from Hina. Next day on the way to school, Hina tells Hitomi that Nitta wants to date Yutako and she needs advice. Hitomi becomes shy and says she has no dating experience, but she also blurts out that if they start dating, then Yutako will become Hina's mom. Hina asks strange questions because she does not understand, and Hitomi realizes Hina lost her mother when she was small and may have some trauma. After school, they go to the bar, and Hina directly tells Yutako to date Nitta. Yutako gets angry and thinks Nitta sent a little girl to ask for him, but Hitomi tries to cover and says Hina herself saw love in Nitta's eyes. Yutako tells her that is impossible and tells her to keep quiet, but Hina denies that Nitta sent her. Hina then praises Nitta, but her praise sounds normal and not special. Hitomi finally requests that Yutako should not worry about the shop because she will handle everything, and Yutako feels her position ends up gone, but she agrees. At night, Nitta comes home. Hina tells him she already asked Yutako and fixed the time and place. Nitta gets shocked at how she did it. Then he lifts her and spins her because he becomes happy. But in that happy moment, Hina's leg gets caught in the door, and she ends up taken to the hospital. On the date day and time, Nitta sits by Hina's bed. Hina tells him that he should go to the date, but Nitta apologizes and says he cannot leave her alone because she got hurt because of him. Hina tells him she will wait for her new mom, so he gets motivated and says he will be back soon with that mom. Nitta goes on the date with Yutako, and they shop and then go to a restaurant. Yutako rejects him, and Nitta wanders sadly in the streets. Later, Yutako tells Hitomi that she turned Nitta down. She tells Nitta she does not want to think about marriage with a divorced man now, but in reality, she does not want to come between Nitta and Hina because on the whole date, Nitta only talked about Hina. She thinks Nitta and Hina stay very close as father and daughter, and her entry will only weaken their bond. Back at the hospital, Nitta gives Hina a puppet he bought as a gift, and he tells her it is her new mama. Hina tells him she already understands what happened and he should stop his foolish act. One day, a woman suddenly teleports into an alley, just like Hina and Anzu, but without any Potter powers, and she gets surprised that the world stays safe even though Hina lives here. She eats ramen at the diner where Anzu works, and Anzu sees her and gets shocked because this woman turns out to be Ikura, the security chief from their old world. Anzu asks her to move to a quiet place where no one will notice them. They go to the park, and Anzu thanks Yasan and everyone in her heart like it becomes her last day, but Ikura tells her she did not come for Anzu and came for Hina. She says Anzu was sent to finish Hina, and when Anzu did not return, the leaders thought Anzu ended up dead. Ikura shows a report and says they must confirm some things about Hina because the control collars on Hina and Anzu broke when they teleported here. In the old world, those collars controlled powerful girls, but the jump damaged them. She says even if she attacks now, nothing will happen to Anzu or Hina, and she gets scared. She tries to push all the work onto Anzu and run away, but Anzu stops her and tells her to at least do her job and prepare the report on Hina. In the morning, Hina walks through the market while Anzu and Ikura hide, follow her, and take notes. Ikura tries to run away again, but Anzu catches her and says if they do not submit a report here, stronger people will come later. The first test in the report says Hina will not stop at a red light unless she gets an order, and she will destroy anything in front of her, so they watch. Hina stops at the red light, and Ikura becomes surprised. Next, Hina buys ice cream and pays the full amount, and Ikura gets surprised again and writes it down. In communication, Hina talks and acts fine with people. Nitta's underlings pass by, and Ikura thinks they are Yakuza, so maybe Hina will attack, but they only greet Hina and leave, and Ikura ends up confused. Ikura takes out the advance report and says they must confirm this part too, and to test it, she buys a small puppy from a shop. She plans to put it in front of Hina like an abandoned puppy. It starts to rain. Hina walks home and sees a puppy in a box, while Anzu and Ikura watch her. Hina goes to a convenience store and takes an umbrella, and Ikura writes that Hina is stealing, but Hina brings the umbrella to the puppy and puts it over him so the puppy will not get wet, and Ikura becomes even more surprised. Ikura tells Anzu to return the puppy they bought, but Anzu refuses, so Ikura rents a small apartment and keeps the puppy herself. Later, she reviews the report and sees a note that says if more than 90% of the answers are yes, it means Hina's mind is stable and the organization will recall her to the old world, and Ikura gets worried. Ikura becomes more worried because she will have to take Hina back without a collar. The next day at school, Hina uses her power to lift some trash and sort it, and a girl sees her. At home, this girl reads old documentaries about psychic powers because she gets very interested in them and wants to find such people. The documentary says that one man revealed secrets about psychic powers, and and then the organization made him disappear, and the girl understands the risk, but her hobby turns strong, so she accepts the danger. She even writes a goodbye note to her mother in case something happens. The next day, she asks Hitomi what Hina is like, and Hitomi tells her that Hina stays just a normal girl who sleeps and eats during class. All day, the girl keeps thinking about what Hina is doing and does not listen to class, so the teacher calls her, and she gets startled and accidentally calls the teacher mama, but the teacher does not mind. At break, she goes to Hina and asks if Hina is from a psychic power organization. Hina accepts everything and asks how she knows, and the girl becomes scared and remembers the person who disappeared. She lies down on the floor and begs Hina to forgive her. She says she only wanted to learn about psychic powers and she will never tell anyone about the organization. Hina does not want new trouble because Nitta will get very angry, so she lets it go. On the way home, the girl talks to Hina and thanks her, and she asks Hina to show a little power. Hina wants to escape, so she takes the girl to the river and lifts some stones in the air. The girl gets excited and wants powers too, and she asks how Hina learned it. Hina tells her that she never thought about it and she just feels she has power. The girl starts to practice on the stones and keeps trying for many hours while Hina stands and waits, gets tired, and wants to go home. At last, Hina secretly lifts one stone, and the girl thinks she did it herself and believes she is a genius. She decides her power activates when some connections click in her brain. At home, she practices with a razor, but nothing happens. And the next day, she comes to Hina's desk and calls her master. She says they will practice today, and Hitomi and Aizawa see it and become surprised. In the evening, they go to the river again, and this time Hina lifts 5 stones at once so the practice will finish fast and she can go home. The girl says they should gather more people into their organization, but Hina gets scared of Nitta and tells her that she must not tell anyone about powers. The girl decides that her power will only activate when Hina is near because Hina is her master. At night, she thinks about power and wonders why Hina stopped her. She wanted to brag in front of everyone and be flashy, and she becomes proud and thinks Hina is acting like a master on purpose, so she decides to teach Hina a lesson. Next day at break, the girl gathers the whole class and writes on the board that today she will teach a class about psychic power. Hina is in the room but sleeps, so the condition is met. The girl puts a razor on the desk and tries to activate power, but nothing happens. She tries many times and nothing moves. The class thinks she has gone crazy, so she quietly opens the door, leaves, and does not come to class for 2 days. Some days later, Hina's fracture heals, and she eats ice cream in a restaurant. Ikura comes and asks her to go back with her, but Hina says that if she does not obey orders, the collar will kill her. Ikura understands that Hina does not know the collar is broken, and she tells her that in 3 days they will teleport back. At home, Nitta sees Hina acting strange. She walks around and fidgets because she gets nervous, and she wants to tell him but cannot. Nitta does not understand, and she keeps watching him when he does laundry, when he talks, and when he washes dishes. In her room, Nitta sees many notes, and Hina is writing a goodbye note and lines to say to him. Nitta thinks Hina is sick and takes her to the hospital, but the doctor says she stays fine. At home, Nitta asks again, and she still cannot speak, so he gets angry. Hina finally tells him that she has to go back to her old place and she must leave, and Nitta gets shocked. He goes to his room, puts on nice clothes, and takes Hina out, telling her their time is short. He takes her to a restaurant and gives her ikura, her favorite dish, and he tells her that in the last time, she should at least eat her favorite dish. After that, they go to see a night view together, and Hina thanks him. Nitta becomes a little emotional and tells her he also enjoyed living together. Hina leaves, and Nitta walks back to the apartment. On the way, he remembers his good times with Hina. At Ikura's apartment, Hina says they are ready, and Ikura asks where the pod is. Hina thinks and remembers that after Nitta got trapped in the pod, she threw it away in anger, so she tells Ikura that she lost it. Ikura says without the pod, they cannot go back because teleportation will fail with only one pod, and this means Hina does not have to return. Ikura decides to report that Hina is finished too. Hina becomes happy and runs back because now she does not need to go, and she wants to return to Nitta. When she reaches the apartment, all the lights are off, and in the main hall, she sees Nitta holding a Happy New Year party to celebrate freedom from Hina. He gets happy that his single life is back, but only for a short moment.